Waldo is now live streaming Just Chatting Trump trial updates. MTG is still crazy and DeSantis hypocrisy. Getting started in about 5 minutes. Toss any links to stories into the Discord. Discord. https discord gg benyay tridix 8. Join the Discord to send links and suggestions. https discord gg benyay tridix 8. Street Fighter V is pissing me off with their DLC story that I can't get to work. Like it won't install. Or you can't unlock. It's downloaded, installed, and Steam has it populated in its DLC window. I boot up the game and the story mode is still grayed out. Bastards. Rebooted the game v verified integrity of files and rebooted Steam. And all of the help online is from 5 years ago when the game first came out. Their solutions don't help me. Ouch.
Oh, hi, how you doing? My name is Waldo, and I am here to feel the politics with you. Um, I'm on a Tuesday morning. That's weird, right? It's only 9:48 in the morning. It's an unusual time for me. Usually I do a Monday night stream, but I had just a start of a migraine yesterday, so I couldn't stream. It's still kind of bugging me, which is why I might not turn my light on. I'm going to turn on my super cool streamer light, and it's going to make me look better, but also at the same time hurt my brain. Yeah, I think I can survive without that, right? A little bit of a dark face stream today. A little bit. That's okay. I cannot turn that light on. So maybe it'll just be a shit stream. Hooray! That'll be fun, won't it? Uh, so, yeah, yesterday,
My political stance is DLC should be easier to access or come with the game in the first place. This is a consumer protection.
strong stance you got there. I like it. I appreciate it. Um, but the DLCs come later, you know? They can't be put in there or else it would uh, delay the release of the game, right? Nobody would like that. Game's got to come out. Got to come out. The DLCs that I really upset about, and it is a Street Fighter thing, was when they were already on the disc, but you had to pay to unlock them. That's brutal. That was I think that was Street Fighter 4.
Change your practices, video game industry.
That was a big deal about that one. Or was it 5? I don't remember. That was a big deal because the gamers figured it out when they started playing online matches with people who bought the DLC, but they didn't have it, and they could see it. And then somebody started poking around and determined that the DLC stuff was on the disc. You just had to pay to unlock the thing that you already had in your hand. I think they got uh, rightly criticized for that back several years ago. But your issue is that you've got it all downloaded and installed and paid for and stuff like that, and it still won't appear because it's grayed out. Yeah, I don't know how you clear the cookies of a video game, but it might be something along those lines. You know, tech troubles is always trouble. So yeah. Anyway, I got all the stuff. I blame the hot tub. So this weekend we went on a little vacation. Went to
IDK if there's a tech hook it's missing or something shrugged.
yeah. There's some sort of line of code that triggers it and pops it into place, but it's not catching. Yeah, tech hook. Yeah. Um, so over the weekend, had a nice, lovely little vacation with the family. We went to Seaside, Oregon. Very nice place. I drank some beer and sat in a hot tub, and I think that made my brain hurt and gave me a migraine. It's the only unusual thing that I did was sitting in a hot tub. That's not a thing I normally do. So I'm blaming the hot tub. Gave me a headache. Gave me a bit of a migraine, which is still here, kind of halfway. But last night it was a lot worse. Um, but today, feeling better. Had some meds. Got some water. Going to try to make up for the stream that I didn't do last night, and I didn't do one on Saturday either, which means I'm way behind on the news. How will my millions of fans know what happened if I'm not there to tell them? Honestly, uh, watch something else, watch someone else. No madness. Um, so yeah, it was a nice place. Seaside Oregon is a nice little place. I'm gonna go there for future vacations. It's very nice. Uh, and that was my weekend. Yeah, that's why I couldn't stream on Saturday, and I blame the hot tub for giving me the migraine. Yeah, that'll do it. Sitting in a hot tub. I usually don't fit.
When you fail to deliver, we fail to bicker.
I know. um, yeah, I usually don't fit in bathtubs. So when there is a tub large enough for me to fit into, I jump in and it's exciting and it's nice. But I think I spent too long in there or something like that, and it gave me a pain in a migraine because I was not used to it at all. So that's just me. I'm weird. I know. I'm crazy. But that's the only thing that I can think of that would have triggered this thing. Um, Also, it might be the sunlight. Really not a big fan of all the sunlight. I live in the Pacific Northwest so that I can avoid all this disgusting, disgusting sunlight. But that's just the way it goes sometimes. For a few months I get sunlight and I hate it. It's terrible. Go away, sunlight. Sunlight, sunlight, go away. Come again some other day. Right? That's how the famous little rhyme goes. Well, let's do some news. Let's do some politics. Let's look at some stuff. How about that? If you're watching, if you're paying attention, please click the like button, click the subscribe buttons, click the thumbs ups, hop into chat, tell me what you're thinking, tell me what you're feeling, and if you want to tell us, if you've got a story you'd like to talk about, you can top
Discord.
you can pop it in the Discord, but it would be better if you popped it in the Discord.
Discord. HTTPS Discord GG Beignet Tridix 8.
Toss it in there. We'll look at the link. We'll have feelings about it, and you can tell me what to talk about, what to think about, and we can discuss it and feel it all together. So let's get started with the very first one. Thing that I thought was important today.
Flat rod theory.
Flat rod? Disc rod? Okay. We'll go here, and we go to the game capture off, window capture on. Then we bring up the thing. We go here, and we go to here, and then we click on the buttons. There's so many buttons to press. Boop. And let's get caught up on the drama. The drama llamas. Donald Trump, he's a guy who's in a trial right now. Don't know if you noticed. Don't know if you've heard anything about it, even though it's the biggest, most important thing in the world right now. He's on trial. And they keep calling it the hush money trial, but it's not really the hush money trial. It's the election subversion trial. It's the election disinformation trial. That's what he did. That's what he's getting in trouble for, is the election disinformation. Paying Stormy Daniels the way they did, technically not, well, I think it is illegal. It's a misdemeanor the way they did it. But if he does the misdemeanor in an attempt to cover up stuff from the election, to keep information away from the electors, from the public, so that he can win the election, that becomes a felony. And that's what they're pushing on. It's only a big deal because it's first. Honestly, I don't think this is a giant nightmare thing.
Trump fails in court and catches fines like someone resisting arrest and catching charges.
Right. I don't think that it is a nightmare scenario for him. He is going to, even if found guilty, I think they're going to give him a fine and call it time served, put him on probation, let him go back to his home, and he has to check in with the court every 60 days or something crazy like that. And they're going to give him a large fine and he'll be found guilty. That's what I think is going to happen at the end of this. And he's going to get a bunch of fans out of it, and his fans are going to love it, probably, possibly. I mean, the center is kind of abandoning him, but his hard right friends are loving it. But this isn't the most nightmarish, terrible thing that could happen to him. This is an annoyance. This is a mild annoyance, I think. The judge appeared skeptical. This was at 7:28 this morning. The judge appeared skeptical of Trump's lawyer's claims. Let's see. No, that wasn't the one I wanted to read. This is the one I wanted to read. Trump's defense lawyer, Todd Blanche, said that reposting an article from a news site was not a violation of the gag order. Justice Juan Merchant asked him what case law supports that. Not a good call, not a good position to be in. You say, hey, that's not against the law, and then the judge is like, what case law supports that? And then you're like, I don't have any case law to support that. It's just common sense, Your Honor. That doesn't sound like good lawyering. Merchant again pressed Blanche on how reposting was any different than posting for the purposes of gag order. Where does it say that? Give me the case law, the judge says. Your Honor, there's... Blanche began after a long pause. The judge says, let me ask you, when something is reposted, how does it get to your client's Truth Social account? The answer is that he put it there. So it's the same as posting. Merchant asked Blanche to state explicitly that at the time Trump reposted articles, he believed he was not violating the gag order. I'd like to hear that, Merchant said. After Blanche said Trump was trying to comply with the court's rules, from the judge, Mr. Blanche, you are losing credibility. I have to tell you right now, you're losing all credibility with the court. The judge asks you a question, you don't have an answer. He asks you what case law supports it. You don't have an answer, and then he tells you you're losing credibility. Not a good position to be in if you are a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge, but this judge giving it to him, and he's giving it to him the right way. It makes sense. Hey, you said that reposting isn't reposting and it isn't against the gag order, do you have some sort of law? Do you have some sort of case law? Do you have some sort of rule to back that up? And the answer was no. So Trump's lawyer is just saying things that he wishes were true. And if there's no law to back it up, we'll just call it common sense. And what do I say about common sense? Common sense is just your feelings. So Donald Trump's feelings is that reposting isn't against the gag order. That sounds stupid because you can just have somebody post what you want and then repost it, and you can get around all laws. Your Honor, I didn't threaten anybody. I just reposted somebody else's threat. That doesn't make any sense. It's nonsense. But most of his defense is nonsensical, you know. So that was a couple hours ago. Judge will not immediately rule on gag order violation. So I think we can screw up. I haven't read a lot of these because it's just absolutely breakneck,
Clearly
just
this
popping
judge
out.
doesn't know what she's doing, probably using her liberal college education to hate on King Lord Trump.
Good point. I think it's a guy though. Um, it is Juan Merchant. So Juan Merchant. So way to go, Mouse City. You misgendered them. You're canceled. Uh, Too bad, so sad. I'm gonna need you to see your way out of the community. You just misgendered somebody, and we have to cancel you now. I apologize. We get a random hand gesture, gets its own photo and headline. That's good. Let's see if there's anything important happening. No, that's not important. During the break, Trump posted about the judge on Truth Social. Highly conflicted, to put it mildly. Judge Juan Merchant has taken away my constitutional right to free speech. Everybody is allowed to talk and lie about me, but I am not allowed to defend myself. This is a kangaroo court, and the judge should recuse himself. You're insulting the judge and the jury, Donnie. That's You're not allowed to do that. You're not supposed to go out of your way and find problems with the judge and the jury and stuff like that.
Media is frothing at the bit to cover every breath, creak, and groan from this case.
Yeah, they are. Every fart too. They're covering every little poot that Donald Trump makes within that courtroom, and it is it's noteworthy because it's new and it's never happened before, and nobody's ever been this terrible before. So it's exciting for them, and yeah, I don't think he's done anything. He is definitely violating gag orders, and he's definitely pushing against what's allowed. But he's not losing his constitutional free speech rights. He's not. Absolutely not. David Pecker is back. Pecker told the court how long he had known Trump. That's great. There he is. Pecker described meeting Michael Cohen. Okay. Talked about discussing help the Trump campaign. I received a call from Michael Cohen telling me that the boss wanted to see me. Let's see. I said what I would do is I would run or publish positive stories about Mr. Trump, and I would publish negative stories about his opponents. And I said that I would also be the eyes and ears of. I said I would be eyes and ears because I know that the Trump organization had a very small staff. If conservatives complain about media bias, are they okay with this? I would I would publish positive stories about Mr. Trump, and I would publish negative stories about his opponents. Are you happy with this, conservative? Are you happy with this, Republican? Are you going to complain that he uses a biased media? No? Because you like the bias. You appreciate what Mr. Pecker is doing. You appreciate the bias that he has towards Trump. But you scream bloody murder if anybody else shows even the slightest bias the other direction. Because you have no principles. If Donald Trump hires a guy to run stories that are good for him and stories bad for his opponent, that's acceptable. But if CNN says a bad thing that Trump did, they're biased and nightmare and terrible and awful and ought to be fucking sued into oblivion. Right? Well, I mean, that's the world they
Because my
inhabit.
bias is correct while everybody else's is wrong.
Exactly. Their bias is correct, you see. When they have a bias towards their opinions, they're right. So that's and it is political, you know. Uh, that's the other thing that bothers me a lot is that when they see that kind of thing, when they see what David Packer has done there, when they see what Donald Trump has done, they don't think it's political. They think it is correct, right, and honest, and common sense because that's their feelings. Their biases are confirmed, and that makes them not political. Nonsense. All right, let's see. An agreement among friends. Pegger said a Trump Tower meeting with Trump lasted 20 minutes, blah, 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 wasn't put into writing. Nothing good. Ex-lawyer Malcone would direct me. Okay. Summary of Dr. Pegger's testimony so far. Violation fines for the gag order. Prosecutors asked judge to fine Trump $10,000 for violating the gag order. He knows what he's not allowed to do, and he does it anyway. He's allowed to respond to political attacks. Every single word that disagrees with him is a political attack, according to him. Mr. Blanche, you're losing all credibility. We covered that. Okay, so that's all we've gotten so far today. So nothing shockingly amazing, nothing over the top, nothing wild today. I didn't hear anything about his flatulence and the current smells today. So I'll keep my eye open for that one. I will have my eyes wide open for that. Got a YouTube chatter. Even Jesus had no sin and jailed, crucified, and murdered by the sinners. Oh, that's cool. Thanks, John Ione. All right, let's go. What else we got for the Trump stuff today? Trump tried to corrupt the 2016 election. Hush money prosecutor alleges in an opening statement. Now, this
Oh,
is the, yeah, emo Waldos in chat. There they are. um, Trump tried to corrupt the 2016 election. That's what he's on trial for. By And this is the important part. It's not about the hush money. The hush money is a misdemeanor, but the misdemeanor that he did was in an attempt to corrupt the election. That makes it a felony. That's why we're upset with him. That's what we're not happy about. He tried to corrupt the 2016 election. Hush money prosecutor alleged in their opening statements. That is why he's on trial, because he tried to harm your election. If you're watching and if you're an American, Donald Trump tried to keep this from you. He tried to hide his crimes from you because he didn't think that because he was worried that if people heard about it, they wouldn't vote for him.
thank you for the follow
And
at.
the friggin' frog's gay.
Uh,
Hi.
Aristox Border Control. Hi, how you doing? Thanks for following. I appreciate it. Aristox Border Control. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. You just turned a frog gay. Hope you're happy. Hope you're proud of yourself. Turn a frog gay. So the issue is that he tried to corrupt the 2016 election. That is the problem. That is why they're bringing you up on trial and thinking that it ought to be paid attention to. Let's see. From the President Trump is innocent. That's his defense. President Trump did not commit any crimes. Manhattan District Attorney's Office should never have brought this case. Okay, that is the defense. He hasn't done anything, hasn't done any crimes, and they should have brought this case. Let's see what the Okay, so the prosecution says this is a planned, long-running conspiracy to influence the 2016 election, to help Donald Trump get elected through illegal expenditures, to silence people who had something bad to say about his
I am
behavior.
European and wondered why American doesn't have a multiple party voting system, and if they brought it, would it work?
One sec. It was election fraud, pure and simple. So yeah, they're thinking it's election fraud. It's a good question. Why doesn't America have a multiple party voting system? Because Americans generally, I'm not going to, I'm generalizing right here. Everything boils down to two sides, honestly, for and against. Either you're for the thing or you're against the thing, generally. And each side, each party, picks to be for the thing or against the thing. That leads to two parties. It's very duopoly, bipolar kind of a decision. And it's kind of arrived naturally. It's not a thing we set out to do. Everybody was against the parties, but there's also so many issues and way too much good stuff on Netflix. So to watch the stuff on Netflix and pay attention to the politics is very difficult. It takes up all your time, and you got to work, and you got your kids. So what you do is you find the handful of things that are important to you. Some people that's abortion, some people that's guns, some people that's election integrity or wokeism or left-leaning policies and stuff like that, or cancel culture, and you vote with the party that agrees with you. You don't have to think about specific individual things because this party is for the thing that you like and this party is against the thing you like. The choice is made for you. A multiple party has been talked about in America, but what third option is there for most situations? You're for the Ukraine aid or you're against it. One party's for the Ukraine aid, one party's against it. You know, abortion is a very complicated subject, but it gets boiled down to for and against. You're for abortion or you're against it. So you have two parties, you have two choices there, and one party will choose the for, one party will choose the against. Gun control, there's one party that's for it, there's one party that's against it. Where do you stand on that? So what you do as an American voter is to find the things that are important to you and vote for the people who agree with you the most of the time. Uh, Swing voters exist, and they're just people who aren't paying attention. There's a hard left, there's a hard right, and there's a whole lot of people in the center who kind of
Oh,
swing
I
back and forth.
understand.
Uh, and they swing back and forth depending on the messaging that's put out. Uh, when if you're anti-union or anti-workers union, something along those lines, then you fall into the right side, into the right wing Republican category, because they come out against unions. They talk about how much they don't like them, how much they want to limit the power that those units have, things like that. So that is the duopoly, the two-party system. It's not pleasant, but there's not a lot I think you can do about it because most issues have a for and against, honestly. And so making a third party, what usually happens is that somebody comes out with a third party, something along those lines, and they agree with something on the right and some things on the left. And if they really do have a new issue that nobody's ever come up with before, AI is a good example. When somebody has a stance on AI, either it'll be for AI or against it because Americans are simple, and it'll go toward the party that agrees with it. So the Republicans will probably be um, depends. The AI is still up in the air. I could see why Republicans would be for it because they are the party of big business and uh, money making and not helping the workers, honestly. So the higher ups, the really high ups in the Republican Party are going to be like, yeah, this AI thing saves us a bunch of money. We have to pay fewer workers. Done.
Are you Republican?
I am not. I am a leftist. I begrudgingly vote for the Democrats because they're the furthest left. I have a very simple, what's the word, process. During the primary, I vote for the person that's furthest to the left, and then during the general, I vote for the person that's furthest to the left. Yeah, that's always Democrats. Um, but yeah, the AI could go. The tech bros all live in California. The Elon types were left leaning until, I mean, they want the electric cars and they want the wokeism and they love Twitter and stuff like that. So they were left, but I think Elon has dragged a whole bunch of them to the right because of his own craziness. So let's see, what is the next story to talk about? We got Trump here. He is, and this is the important bit to remember. He tried to corrupt the 2016 election. That's why it's important when Fox News tell you that this is not important, this isn't a thing. Why are they even bringing this up? It's because he tried to corrupt an election. It's the same thing, corrupt the 2016 election. And hey, look, here's some nice news. Here's something nice. Biden unveils $7 billion solar for all investment on Earth Day. And even when the Dem does something nice or good or people appreciate, you're not going to hear much about it, which is why I want to talk about it. Earth Day, he announced a $7 billion investment in solar energy projects nationwide, focusing on disadvantaged communities and unveiling a week-long series of what the White House says will be historic climate actions. The president was speaking at Prince William Forest Park. These awards across the country are to states, territories, tribal governments, municipalities, and nonprofits to develop programs to enable low-income and disadvantaged communities to benefit from the residential solar power. And it's a big deal. Solar for All programs means 900,000 households will have solar on the rooftops for the first time. Soon, millions of families will save over $400 a year on utility bills. I think this is a good idea. Uh, Back up and help our energy grid with things like solar. Put those things up there, pop them on top, put them on top of every house, make it a normal thing that everybody has. I think that's a good idea. This is a good plan. Help them out. Take some of the subsidies. I know I think I talked about the oil subsidies with Thomas the other day. Take some of those subsidies away from them and give it to solar. Not all of it, not immediately. We don't need to I want to kill all the subsidies eventually, but right now, the oil subsidies. Right now, make it easier and better and more affordable to get solar rather than oil. That will help. Um, is it perfect? Is it amazing? No. Can solar solve all of our energy problems? No, not yet. Maybe in the future, if we practice with it. And I that is the complaint that the Republicans and conservatives give me. Oh, well, solar isn't there yet. It's not ready. It's not good enough. It'll never be good enough if you don't practice. The Model T was the very first car, well, not the very first car, but one of the earliest cars. It didn't go 90 miles an hour. My car goes 90 miles an hour today, you know? So should I have abandoned the Model T and said, no, 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 we don't want these Model T cars. They don't go 90 miles an hour. Of course not. That's insane. Baby steps, step by step, step by step, step by step, one little bit at a time. Incrementalism. If I had to invent my own uh, political stance, it would be incrementalism. Make tomorrow a little bit better than today. Make the day after that a little bit better than that. A little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. Make 900,000 more homes have solar panels, and then make those solar panels a little bit better, and then find a better way to get the solar energy into the houses. There you go. Find a way to reduce emissions by 1%, and then next year do it by another percent. Incrementalism. I know it's slow and boring, but and it's not a giant screaming revolution. Uh, A Frisco, I don't know. He's talking about Jesus. A Frisco. It's very exciting. Um, anyway, incrementalism. That's the way to go. A little bit at a time. Make the world a little slightly better every single day, and you will notice after a couple of generations that all our problems have been solved. Let's see. What else have we got? So yeah, that's good news. Joe Brandon does a good thing, and that's why I begrudgingly vote for Democrats. They are the left-leaning party. They're not quite as left as I am, or as far left as I would want them to be, but they are better than the alternative. Oops. We're gonna close that, and we're gonna close that, and then we're gonna look at some more Republican stuff. The Republicans castrated themselves. Here we go. They put these lunatics in charge, and the lunatics can't function. So never before has a party in control of the House of Representatives knowingly and willingly castrated its own power so thoroughly as today's Republicans. They don't know how to do their jobs. Republicans blew years of potential authority by weak leaders surrendering to keep power. So with a razor-thin GOP majority, Mike Johnson had to depend on Democrats to muscle through the $60 billion Ukraine bill over the weekend. This is a good idea. I'm all right with $60 billion to Ukraine so that they can fight the Russians. This is a good idea. They're fighting for their survival. They're fighting for their democracy. They're fighting for their country. I'm okay with this. I'm not thrilled that it costs $60 billion, but that's not a surprise. That's how defense spending goes. I'm upset that we can't find some money for
Are you
healthcare.
ready for another month without a speaker? Poor Pastor Johnson doing a government got him fired.
Yep, he did a government and it's about to get him fired. You're absolutely right. The structural changes they made the place ungovernable. The structural changes they made the place ungovernable. This is it's not functional anymore because they let these lunatics be in charge. If you put these lunatics in charge, you will not function. These are dysfunctional people. They want the government to dysfunction. That's what they want. They hate the government so much that they don't want it to do its actual jobs. when you give this many nihilists this kind of leverage, this is what's going to happen, and it was just a matter of time because they don't care. They're actually, I don't know if nihilist is the right word. They're true believers. I'm not sure I agree with this guy. Nihilist means that they don't care about anything. These people care about their ideology, their uh, preferred bit of reality. They believe so strongly that they will never stop believing. Republicans have been running a con for from the 1970s to like the 2010s, I want to say. They were running, there was 30, that's about 40 years of con. So that con was, we're for the working class. We support the Southern people. We support the evangelicals. But they didn't let them be in charge. They were the pro-business party, and they promised all the poor people that someday they were going to be rich as well. And you don't want to be taxed now, and you don't want to be taxed when you're rich. So let's cut taxes for everybody. And mostly they cut taxes for the rich people. The taxes at the top were significantly cut under Reagan, and he promised that that would trickle down and everybody would get better. They didn't. The social issues, the anti-gay marriage, the anti-gay, the anti-trans, the anti what was the other thing? The slight little bit of racism that the Republicans had were all paint. It was all painted onto the Republican tax cut machine. The Republican tax cut machine was the machine, and it was painted with the social colors. We're against gay, we're against abortion, we're against trans, we want to keep the woke out of it, we want to keep the races separate and things like that. That was the paint that they put on the
We're all
Republican
just
tax machine.
temporarily inconvenienced billionaires. Just gotta pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Right, that's what they promised you. And that was the machine, but it was painted with these social issues. Maytag, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Matt Gaetz believe the paint is the most important part. They have changed it from a tax cutting machine to a social machine with tax cut paint. They have swapped it. They've inversed it. They thought the paint was the most important part. They thought that the paint job on the outside of the car was the most important part. So now that's what they believe in. That's what they love. That's what they push for all the time. And the old Republicans, the old guard, the Mitt Romneys, the John McCain's, the Mitch McConnells, they know that the social stuff was just bait to get people into the door to feed the tax machine. But now the crazies have taken over. The true believers are here, and the true believers are changing what the actual message is supposed to be. The true believers are being in charge now. Pastor Johnson is an old school Republican. He really is.
MTG eats paint chips. I am down with starting that rumor.
She does eat paint chips, and she thought that was the most important part of a diet. Um, so yeah, Pastor Johnson is a typical right-wing Republican. I think that he's closer to the center than Maytag and Gates. He really is. He's closer to the center. But they don't want center. They don't want people working with the Democrats because the Democrats are all child molesting monsters, according to them. And they're wrong. They believe it, even though there's no evidence and there's no truth to it. And Matt Gaetz is literally going through an ethics complaint right now about him attending drug-fueled parties with teenagers. But he believes that's what matters. He believes. He says the right things in the right way, and he believes it to be true. So he is not even forgiven. They just ignore the crimes he's done or he's accused of. So where did I get before I started ranting? Two mistakes haunt the House Republicans, both dating back to the Speaker McCarthy's fight to win the gavel in 23. Letting any member call a vote to remove the Speaker. This gives insurgents like Matt Gaetz and Maytag extraordinary power to threaten oust a party leader at any time. That's stupid. Surrendering authority to the Rules Committee, which sets the terms of how legislation will be handled during votes. After allowing non-loyalists into the committee, leaders can't depend on getting their way. New Rules Committee with McCarthy appointed hardliners such as Massey and Chip Roy. had become roadblocks. 7 bills were defeated in the past year during the rules process. Now, this is interesting. This is an unprecedented collapse of control. Nancy Pelosi, Paul Ryan, and John Boehner never lost a rules vote. Those are names you've heard before, if you're a politics nerd like me. They never lost a rules vote, which means Pastor Mike Johnson doesn't control what's happening within the House. He is powerless to these lunatics. By not voting for rules, it forces suspension votes that are, by definition, more bipartisan. They are creating what they profess to hate. So, yeah, um, to get around the rules votes, you have to vote with the Democrats. So by being obstinate and being, hey, we will not let this rule pass, it goes up actually, and then everybody votes, and then everybody says, yeah, that's fine. So you get more bipartisanship by these hard right people demanding no action. It's very strange, but they're not smart. They're not intelligent. They're not tomorrow type thinkers. The people on this list, Maytag and Matt Gaetz, are not tomorrow thinkers. They want what they want. They believe what they believe. And if you disagree, if you don't believe what they believe, you are the enemy. That's just how they roll, man. That's how they roll. And I don't like the fact that we keep putting these people in charge. And how do they keep getting in charge? Is that they live in a small district with a handful of people who love the idea of a rabble rouser. Rabble rousers are fun. I get it. I know. I understand. Rabble rousing's fun. It's fun to go on the internet and look into a camera and tell people the opposite of what they already think, what they already believe, and what the mainstream narrative is. It's pleasant. That's why Alex Jones does it every day. That's why Glenn Beck does it every day. They love going on telling people the opposite of what they thought. It's fun. It's exciting. It gets people hooked, you know. But that's not good for a for a House representative. It's not a good way to operate. It's not the way you ought to do things in that sphere. You need to be conciliatory. You need to come together with the other side, understand their points, and make some compromise. These people hate compromise. They hate it. They do not want to compromise with anyone with a D behind their name because they will lose their belief. The belief is that the Dems are all baby eating, blood sucking nightmare monsters, and you can't compromise with that. They are true believers, and that is far more dangerous than boring centrists who don't do anything. Extremists are obviously always going to be more dangerous and extreme than the centrists. Uh, and it makes politics more exciting, but it also makes it harder to govern. It makes it harder to operate a functioning government. It really does become far more difficult if everybody's on the extremes. Right, let's see. Ukraine aid. Israel and Taiwan heads to the Senate for final approval. It got approved. I think the important bit here was that Bernie didn't like it. From Bernie, this bill provides Netanyahu 10 billion more in unrestricted military aid for his horrific war against the Palestinian people. That's unconscionable. I agree with Bernie. I don't want to give Palestine any more money. They seem to be using it to kill people, to kill innocent people. That's not good. I don't like it. Let's stop doing that. But the aid to Ukraine, I'm on board for. They're fighting against an invasive Russia. You know, Taiwan should be able to. I'm all right with aiding Taiwan. I'm not thrilled with the amount of money it costs. I think we should tax the rich people more to pay for that stuff. But it's not very popular. I mean, it is popular, but it's not going to go anywhere because rich people run the country. Mm, let's see. We found mass graves in Gaza. Shows victims' hands were tied. UN rights officer says, so this isn't good. I don't like this. This is a bad sign. The people here are the Israelis are killing innocent people. And that's what the evidence is suggesting. So they were buried without among the deceased were allegedly older people, women, and wounded, while others were found tied with their hands tied and stripped of their clothes. So they're being executed, possibly. So that's the suggestion they're making with this, is that some of these people were executed into a hole, buried up, covered, nobody paid attention. Move on quickly. That's why everybody's complaining on the left about Israel. We think that they're going overboard. We think that they're doing an ethnic cleansing, borderline genocide. I don't like that. Please stop. Please stop giving them billions of dollars to help them do that. But Biden is an old Dem from a time when the most important thing is protecting Israel. They have shifted, is what I'm saying. Israel has shifted to the right, and I don't want to fund them. And now that they've done so, that's the complaint that I'm making here. Let's see. More Trump stuff, and then I want to do the DeSantis thing. Yeah. Okay, so, oops, I keep mishitting that button. I still have a little bit of a migraine today, which is why I haven't turned the light on. So what I'm going to do is cover these last couple of stories. I'll turn my light on. I'll try and turn out a YouTube video about DeSantis because I think it's interesting. There's one thing specifically about DeSantis that I wanted to talk about today, and then I'll call it off for the day. I know it's a weird morning time stream, and I appreciate everybody who's here. Thanks for being here, Frisco and Shinsinto, and Mouse City and all you guys. But I still have a little bit of a migraine, and hopefully it'll be gone after another couple of days. So, what is the next little bit? It is. Oh, okay. So, this is fun. I don't know if the audio is going to pick this up. So let me double check this. I'm going to move this, and you might be able to hear what he's saying. Trump speaking before entering the courtroom. Again calls for MAGA protests outside the New York City courthouse where he's being tried.
That's interesting outside for great Americans, people that want to come down and they want to protest at the court and they want to protest peacefully. We have more police presence.
Woo, I love hearing about trailer trash Ron DeSantis.
And yet you have nobody up at a college where you have very radical people wanting to rip the colleges down, the universities down. And that's a shame. But it all starts with Joe Biden. The sig race, that's interesting.
He's complaining that his followers can't protest in New York, but Palestine defenders can protest at colleges. He's conflating two totally different things. So, are the people prevented from protesting outside his courtroom? No, that's a lie. We were there yesterday. The spaces to protest right across from the street, and we counted 5 Trump supporters in total. 6 if you count Andrew Giuliani wandering aimlessly looking for someone to interview him. Good burn. This is the video of it. You could go there and protest if you'd like. It's just that there aren't any people there. Trump just claimed that the police have shut down the streets around the courthouse for blocks and that his protesters can't be here. Just not true. There's one pro-Trump person here, and the main street along the courthouse is open to traffic. So he is lying, again, as usual, claiming to be the victim, claiming again and again and again, always the victim. Donald Trump is always the victim of everything, ever, forever. I don't know why he's considered a strong man. He's the weakest, wienerest, wimpiest, most crybaby bitch that has ever been on TV. And he's still considered strongman. I can go in there and type in God Emperor Trump right now, and you'll find cartoons of him being a 9-foot tall super soldier with gigantic pecs and huge ab muscles, and talking about how tough he is. He's literally the opposite. He is the biggest crybaby ever. Every single thing that's ever happened, he's the victim of. I swear, if he's the victim of all the things. Everything that's ever happened. Everything good is he's a victim. Everything that's bad, he's a victim. He is the biggest victim in the world. And it doesn't matter what the reality is. It doesn't matter if you can see this photo right here. His fans will agree with him. They'll just think that he has been mistreated. I don't know why. Why do you think he's been mistreated? You can see the evidence right here that he is absolutely not being blocked from having his protesters there. His protesters are allowed to be there. They're just not there. There's no conspiracy. He's just a liar. And I think that's what the important bit is. There's no conspiracy. There's no complicated uh, George Soros plan going on. He's just a liar. That's it. He says things that help him that aren't true. That's all. There's no grand narrative. There's no evil media twisting the things in a way. He just lies. All right. So that was a little thing that I thought was interesting. Then what? Oh, I moved it over there so I could see it. I'm going to bring the volume back down a little bit. Something about those Twitter videos that just really, really quiet. And there's protests happening at colleges right now, which are being broken up by the police. The Columbia College is having a protest that is pro-Palestinian and anti-Israel doing a ethnic cleansing, but that gets broken up by the cops because the cops and the people in charge of Columbia don't like what they're protesting. That's the way that all of these things are going. Donald Trump says you need to arrest those protesters and allow mine in. He, again, likes the bias of the people that are on his side, dislikes the bias of the people on the other side, and says the other side can't have their rights. Pretty common among right-wing thinkers, honestly. The more I talk to them, the more I think about, the more I discuss it with them. They like their side. Their side gets rights. The other side doesn't. Their side gets to protest. The other side doesn't. Everything that we do is correct and right and common sense, and everything that you do is wrong and bad and based on feelings and not facts. That is the discussion that I get from them. That's what I hear from them all the time. That is the way I feel like they're coming across. All right. I know it's been a quick stream and I'm flying through these things, but my migraines start to come back. So what I'm going to do is close this. I'm going to go right here to DeSantis. I'm going to go to the face cam. I'm going to hit this button so I can get a YouTube video out. And we'll talk about Ron DeSantis. DeSantis signs bill banning Florida counties from requiring heat breaks for outdoor workers. Okay, so what and why? It doesn't make any sense. Let's read it about it. Florida is seeing two more recent instances of state government under Republican Governor Ron DeSantis limiting the powers of local government. Hey, don't they hate that? Don't Republicans doesn't Thomas tell me that local government should be more important than state government? The state government should be more important than a federal government? They say that all the time. But I've been calling that a lie for a very long time. I've been suggesting that they only want what they want. If state government gives a Republican what they want, they'll scream state rights. If local government gives a Republican what they want, they will claim local government rights. If the federal government gives a Republican what they want, they will say that the federal rights are most important. It doesn't matter. Their bias is what they want. They agree with the government that shares their bias. They don't give a damn if it's local. They don't give a damn if it's state. They don't give a damn if it's federal. If it agrees with them, that's the government they push for. That's the government that they empower. A bill signed Thursday bans local governments from requiring heat and water breaks for outdoor workers, and the bill DeSantis signed Friday strips local citizens of oversight boards from investigating officers. Ron DeSantis just took away a county in Florida's ability to set their own rules because he does not care. He wants what he wants. And if the local government disagrees with him, he'll pass laws to prevent them. If the state government disagrees with him, he'll pass laws to change that. If the federal government disagrees with Ron DeSantis, he will pass laws to circumvent that. They don't actually care about states' rights. They never have. They never have. The bill DeSantis signed on Thursday. Florida is one of the hottest states in the country. Local governments will be banned from requiring heat and water breaks for outdoors. So the local government passed a law and said anybody working in our county must have a heat and water break for your outdoor workers. The company that's operating within our border, within our local government border, must follow this rule. DeSantis said, no, they don't. Because he doesn't care about local control. This is, I know it's a very small issue, and I know I'm ignoring the horrible conditions that these workers are under, but it just goes to prove their hypocrisy again and again and again. If doing hypocrisy gets Ron DeSantis more power, then that's what he'll do. He does not care. Pointing it out doesn't make a difference to him and his voters. They don't mind. They like the hypocrisy. They welcome it. They will bend the world. They will bend the rules. They will bend their entire brains so that they can accept that hypocrisy. They have a whole lot of beliefs in their heads, and they can just believe this is what's best. Will they ignore states' rights to do so? Yes. Will they ignore federal rights to do so? Yes. Will they ignore local rights to do so? Yes. They don't care. This is okay for them. They don't mind. This is a cognitive dissonance that they're okay with. And I'm going to point this at anybody else, Republican or conservative, who tells me states' rights. Well, they don't care about states' rights. Never have. They never will. Oh, that's all I can do with that light. It really can't. I'm not feeling good today, guys. I thought maybe I would feel good or better to this morning, but the longer this morning's gone on, the worse I feel. So, I appreciate all the people who are here. Thank you for being here. Thanks for coming in. I just really wanted to get that Ron DeSantis bit out. I'll turn that into a YouTube video later. And I did get a new follower today, so thanks for that. That's great. New follower on Kick, so that's super cool. I think that's it. So hit me up on the Discord if you've got any stuff to talk about, and hopefully I'll be back for the regular Wednesday night stream. Today is Tuesday, right? Boop. That is the Discord.
Discord. https Discord GG Beignet Tritix 8. YouTube. https www.youtubecom at waldovideos.
That is the YouTube link. Go there and watch some of the videos. I got how many views on that one? It's unusual for me to get quite so many views, but I think I got 400 something on my one of my latest videos. That's exciting for me. That's a high number for me. You know. Let's see, content. There it is. Yeah, the Vote Republican or You Don't Deserve Rights got 481 views. That's a lot for me. I'm excited. This is my excited face. I appreciate everybody who was here. Thanks for coming in. I know it was a off-the-cuff stream out of nowhere, and my light isn't even on, but I'm just not feeling too good today. Hopefully I'll be better by tomorrow night, and we can do a regular evening stream.
Any loony comments that stood out?
Any loony? Oh, no. I think one guy who just didn't watch it was mad at me about the title, because the title is Vote Republican or You Don't Deserve Rights. Now that is a very provocative title, right? And that would suggest that I'm on their side, but in fact I was talking about Tom Cotton and how much I don't like him and how wrong he is. So I was taking his position, putting it into the title, and then disagreeing with it. So I did get one guy who did not watch it and thought that I was some hard right-winger who was actually legitimately saying that, and that was my view, and so he yelled at me about how Republicans keep taking away rights, and I was like, well, yeah, that's my point. Did you watch the video? But he hasn't responded to that. That's okay. But no, I think the loony responses I get are from the shorts, which aren't getting pushed anymore, which is weird. The algorithm doesn't make sense. Don't go to YouTube. It's a terrible place. I mean, you should go to YouTube and watch my stuff, but it's a complicated place that is a mass, and the algorithm changes every week, and so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I'm glad it's finally kind of almost picking up. I have a whopping 150 subscribers. So if you want to go to YouTube, click that subscribe button. That would be nice for you. Your name will appear right there in the bottom of the screen, just like StealthFox 2044. He's my latest subscriber, and it'll stay there until somebody else subscribes. So that is everything for me today. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming. I know it was a quick, short one. It's pushing only like an hour of stream today, but that's all I got in me. And I got the little Ron DeSantis bit out, which is what I wanted because I want to turn that into a YouTube video. I can do that by just streaming everything. And I should be back tomorrow night. Thanks for being here, and goodbye.